Welcome back to another episode of the Gridiron Guys. I'm your host, Luke, with my co-host, Big Jim.
Peeps.
And East Coast Brad.
Hello.
If you like our content, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications so you never miss any of our content. Boys, let's talk about for a little bit here. Let's talk about the 2024 Big Ten schedule came out. Brad, did you get a chance to look at Maryland's schedule next year?
I did not. I have not yet looked at the Big Ten schedule. I was too busy celebrating my Peter Wright win last week.
Oh yeah, by the way, as we were on our way to Lincoln, I get a text from Brad. Brad goes, "Yeah, Pat Wright ended up winning his match. I didn't even know. I forgot to ask you how much you won.
I think I won like $20, something like that. Just a little sprinkle.
Right.
I mean, he was plus money, so I think actually I ended up winning more. I think I bet 20, and I think I ended up winning like 24, 25. So they just wake up, $24 richer. Ain't bad. It's, big money while you sleep. That's how they really do it.
Got some beer money there. That's good.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I guess we'll talk about Nebraska's real quick. Nebraska's schedule next year. Love it. Actually, and I'll explain why here in a little bit. So we've got, not to bore Brad, but we got UTEP at home, Colorado, Northern Iowa, Illinois. It's for the first time in like 3 years we aren't starting with the Big Ten opponent, which I love. Thank God.
We got 4 straight home games.
Yeah, and I love that.
That's awesome.
We've had
Thank
enough.
God.
We've had enough of the fucking going to goddamn Ireland or going away from home to play a stupid ass fucking football game.
Right.
Stupid shit. And then we got at Purdue, Rutgers at home, at Indiana, at Ohio State, UCLA at home, at USC, Wisconsin, and at Iowa. Getting the draw of Ohio State, UCLA, and USC as a three game skid, little tough. But if y'all know me, I think USC is a very beatable team, and they won't have Caleb Williams next year. So how good are they really going to be? No, what are your takes from that schedule there, Jimbo?
I like the top 4. I mean, like our first 4 games looks very evident that we could possibly be 4-0 just because the opponents there are not that great and they're all at home, which is a big factor in my opinion. After the first 4, we got at Purdue. We saw how Purdue was this year. They're not very good. They're not very I don't know what the direction of that team's going quite yet. So I like that. Rutgers is always beatable because it's the Rutgers.
But I don't know. Shiano's got that team 6-2 now this year going into a week. Ohio State.
So they're loaded with some older guys there that's been there for 3-4 years now. So like these guys are going to leave, and next year they're going to be young again. See what happens. So it's all about recruiting, and they can't get the recruits there. I feel like they get transfers there, but we'll see. After Rutgers at Indiana, Indiana is dog shit this year, so I like that. Then we go to Columbus, Ohio, play Ohio State. Year 2, I don't think we beat Ohio State in year 2 of Matt Rule. I think I'd like to see it close, but I don't think we beat Ohio State next year. UCLA, USC, Wisconsin, those are very, very tough games right there. So it's just hard to predict them because who knows, we could be, down starting quarterbacks, down running backs, down wide receivers like we are this year. So those are tough games to even pick right now. And then we finished out the year with Iowa, and fuck Iowa. So yeah. I don't know. I like the schedule. It's nice not seeing like just a fucking, house of blades going to,
Well, I think
through our schedule.
Iowa got Iowa for the first time in fucking years finally got a hard schedule. They play, but all of their tough games are at home. Like they have Michigan, they have Washington, they have USC, or do they have UCLA? I think they have UCLA. They go to UCLA, so that's kind of a tough game. But like, they didn't get a easy draw either.
That's funny. They deserve it. Finally.
But, Brad, what do you look at?
He'll retire now.
Oh, we'll see.
He'll be like, no way.
We'll talk about that. Brad, what are your takes on the Maryland schedule?
It's an interesting schedule. USC at home could be pretty cool. I might actually go to that game. That would be kind of fun to check out. jarring to see like at Oregon right now.
Yeah.
Late in the year, they also finished the year at Penn State, which is like super depressing for that team. So just like have to get whopped at Penn State early in the year, or late in the year. But it will be an interesting schedule. I mean, really, if you look at their schedule, their last 4 games are Oregon, Rutgers, Iowa, Penn State, which are like pretty exciting games, and that is right in line with when the state of Maryland stops caring about college football because college basketball starts.
So I think it's going to be interesting. I think the possibility, obviously, with the 12-team playoff, I think the SEC cool. and the Big 12 in the Big 10 could possibly get 4 teams in each. I think there's a scenario where that's very, very plausible for those 2 teams to get 4, and then the other 4 spots are up for grabs.
Yeah, the whole realignment is like breaking my mind. I was talking about it at work today, and it like I'm ready to sit down for like 20 minutes before the season starts and just be like, who plays who now?
Yeah.
None of it makes like any sense. It hurts my head. There's too much going on to even keep track of. So it's like I just got to sit down right like the weekend before college football starts and be like, okay, that's who's in this conference now. I've lost track.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. I love it though. I love the fact that we're playing.
We're gonna be sitting there like week 5 and be like, okay, when do we play a Big 10 opponent? Oh shit, we actually do. USC.
What's the Pac-12 after dark?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, those USC games, that UCLA game could be like a 10, 11 o'clock kick for us. I mean,
it's going to be mind-boggling.
Yeah. I love it, though, because then it's like you get coverage on all 4. You're in all 3 time zones.
Yeah.
You have a game going on in all 3 time zones. Oh, agreed. Yeah. And I just don't think USC is going to adapt. So,
no.
I love that. I love that for us because I want to either go to Columbus next year or I want to go to the Coliseum and watch, because I think USC is more of a winnable game. I think USC is more of a winnable game than Ohio State. But I digress. That was kind of our Big 12 2024 schedule look at.
Whoa, Big 12?
Or Big 10. Sorry, Big 18.
Whatever it is now.
throwing it back, man. Throwing it way back.
Yeah,
I wish
2009, 2010. Nah, I don't. Fuck that. We would run it. We would run it right now, but I don't really care for the Big 12 all that much. But anyway, let's get into the slate of games, gentlemen. Last week, Brad, buddy, you went 8-7.
Yeah, it was a weird week for me.
Yeah, you've been kind of on like a really bad skid lately. Not to just throw you underneath the bus, but
no, I have. I was up a lot to start the month, and then I checked my tracking, and I would have been close to negative if I didn't hit a close to $90 baseball parlay the other day. So,
Jesus Christ!
Or I think it was like a $60 parlay I ended up hitting on a free bet. So I would have been very close to negative. I went on a massive 2-week skid. I could not hit a bet to save my life.
Yeah, Brad in college is 8-7. Nate's 18-14, and I am 20-14. So, I mean, we're still above 500 as a group. We're still above 500. I like it. But week 10 college football, it's hard to believe that we're 10 weeks into the season already. You know what I mean? It's really depressing.
It's fucking
really
sad.
Depressing. First game we're going to talk about, Oklahoma at Oklahoma State. It's a bedlam. Weird to see it this kind of early in the season. Not early in the season, but like in the middle of the schedule, because usually they play each other at the end of the year. Oklahoma is favored by 6. It's a road game for them. They are coming off of a huge loss against Kansas. And my take here is Oklahoma could probably bounce back, but Oklahoma State ain't a pushover. The line's at 6 for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And those games are always really, really close. It's a rivalry game. You don't really know what you're going to get right away from those two teams. Dylan Gabriel really struggled last week. And I'm wondering when Zay Flowers is going to get a start at Okie State. He's a true freshman from Gretna, Nebraska, who decided to go to Oklahoma State. instead of Nebraska, which, whatever. But I think the over-under is like 52.5, 50.5.
60.5.
61.5. Yeah, 61.5. But I don't know. Something's fishy about that line that I don't like. But Nate, what's your take?
My take is I wouldn't bet on Oklahoma because this is the last Bedlam game in the foreseeable future because of Oklahoma leaving the Big 12, blah, blah, blah. We already know that. And I really like, I shouldn't call it pettiness, but the way Mike Gundy is going to go into this game, he's going to show Oklahoma, you know what? Fuck you guys. We're going to take the last victory ever. And I love that. I think they're going to go in there with a chip on their shoulder and they're going to really make this a game. And Oklahoma could be on a 2-game skid here. And I mean, I ain't got much more to say about that, but I can't wait to watch the rivalry unfold in this game.
It's going to be heated. It's going to be very heated. What's your take?
It's kind of sad to see this rivalry end. I think it's, over 100 years old they've played now every single year, which is wild. But I like Oklahoma State in this spot. I think they kind of just found their rhythm a little bit. Ollie Gordon has looked awesome. He's been a stud running back. I think he's close to almost well over 1,000 yards now, which is sweet. Mm-hmm. And they've kind of figured out what they are as a team. Even though they played that weird 2 quarterback thing, as long as they hand the ball to Ollie Gordon, they got a chance. It's kind of throw out all the numbers in a sense. Let's just see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Next game, Ohio State at Rutgers. I put this on here just because Ohio State. Brad, I forgot to ask. Brad, what's your take on the college football playoff rankings? What was your takeaway from that?
It was interesting. I mean, the top 3 were pretty obvious, right? And then you have Florida State sneak in at the bottom, but I don't think anybody thinks that's going to last. It feels like whoever comes out of the Pac-12 championship is going to just sneak into that final spot, unless Florida State doesn't lose. But even then, no one would be shocked if they drop a game.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're splitting hairs between Georgia, Michigan, and Ohio State.
Are you really though with Ohio State?
Yeah, Ohio State's your question mark, I guess, but they're also undefeated, and
that's fair.
Ohio State, and they just kind of keep rocking. And then
they have
SEC,
the 15th. They have the 15th hardest schedule, so you kind of understand why they put them up there. But like you said, based on the other teams, you're like,
I don't know. It's weird, and too. I mean, you got everyone hates to hear it, but you have 2 SEC schools lower down in Bama and LSU that are playing this weekend, and one of them's going to play Georgia in the SEC championship, and it's going to be real hard for these college football playoff people to be like, well, we really want Florida State in here over Bama or LSU. They're going to be like, the SEC, they're going to have. So that's, to me, it's like that top 3 can stay, but there's maybe going to end up being another SEC team in this. If they win the championship and it's not Georgia.
With where we're at right now in the standings and how late it is in the year, what is the answer to a Georgia versus Bama or Georgia versus LSU in the SEC championship and Alabama and LSU end up winning and beating Georgia? What is the answer? Do they put a 1-loss Georgia in over a 1-loss Pac-12 champion in?
I think the Pac-12 has to go undefeated. That champion has to be undefeated.
It has to be Washington, basically, right? It has to be Washington.
Even with the talent, if Oregon wins out, plays Washington in the Pac-12 championship, if they win out and everything, you don't think they get in?
If you look at strength of schedule, in my own, if you ask me my own personal opinion, I think anybody from the Pac-12 who wins the Pac-12 should get a automatic 1 through 3 spot, because the way the Pac-12 has been so strong lately, this year, SEC does the SEC. There's no better conference than the SEC, but the Pac-12 was just as good this year as the SEC.
Absolutely,
for sure.
If you're looking at quality of wins,
do they get political with it and they're like, well, the Pac-12 doesn't exist this year, so fuck them. It's that almost feels like what's going to happen. In a sense, it's like, well, we could put in a Pac-12 championship, and then everyone's going to not be a thing next year. So like we'll just put in again Florida State and LSU, Alabama instead.
Yeah,
over them.
That's
kind of what it feels like at the end of the day. Granted, Florida State not winning it all for their which is like almost a given.
I feel like there's. I feel like they have a pretty safe space to the college football playoff, unless they run into North Carolina again.
Yeah,
North Carolina,
that's their right. That's it.
Louisville.
Yeah, Louisville.
Yeah, it seems to just beat every good team they play.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Getting back to Ohio State. Ohio State is at Rutgers. Ohio State is a 18.5. Over under is 42.5. God, like here's the thing though. Like I really want to like choose Ohio State here. Like everything's pointing towards Ohio State. They just got ranked number 1 in the college football playoff. Everybody's rating that high. But Rutgers is a sneaky 6-2. And Greg Schiano is a really, really good coach. And I think this might be a trap. This 11 o'clock kick. Is Ohio State going to show up for this game, or are they just going to dog walk? Are they just going to act like they're going to dog walk Rutgers? I don't think they can in the situation that they're in right now. I don't think they can afford to do something like that. 18 is a lot of points. That's all I'm saying. 18 is a lot of points. This could be and are we just going to forget that Rutgers was playing well at the Big House for 2.5 quarters against Michigan? Like, that could very much happen. They could come out and cover this, and they'd still lose, but they would cover it. 18's a lot of points for me, but that's kind of my take.
Yeah, that's a lot of points, but at the same time, it's Rutgers. Like
it is.
Sometimes in college football, it's like you see these big numbers, and it's like, oh, that's a lot, and then it's like, well, it's Ohio State, and it's Rutgers. So
well,
maybe we should think this through, right? Like,
I'm not gonna bet the spread because, like you guys said, 18 is a hell of a lot of points with a 6-2 Rutgers team. But I do like Ohio State to win this game, and I think win handily. But 18 is a lot of points. I think the only reason why I am picking Ohio State to win this game handily is because of Trey Henderson. I feel like him healthy. He helped him with Penn State. I just feel like he's like the rock of the offense right now. I know they have Marvin Harrison Jr., but you can't trust Kyle McCord to get him the ball. And
agreed.
I feel like with their running game with Henderson in the backfield, back from injury, I think Ohio State is very tough to beat in a game like this. So I like Ohio State in this game.
Brad?
I think too, we forget about some of the intangibles about the and I'm going to go right at your significant other, Luke, here, Alanis, the terrible state of New Jersey. New Jersey is the armpit of America. The whole state smells. They can't even pump their own gas. And we somehow are like, oh, well, they can maybe be close to Ohio State in football. I don't know how we think that. They can't do anything right in that state. It is my least favorite place. Learn to pump your own gas. It ain't that hard. Ohio State should just walk all over just for that fact. And then pump the gas right into the bus on the way out of the stadium. No actual analysis, just New Jersey slander.
The fact that I am going to be a New Jersey native, it really is just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. In the history of the United States, one good thing has come out of New Jersey, and that's The Sopranos, and that is it.
What about Bruce Springsteen? What about Springsteen?
It's debatable. He has some bangers.
Bon Jovi! I could go on.
I love Springsteen, but it's not allowed to be played in my house anymore because Brooke was the glory days for most of college as a bartender, and they played glory days every hour and a half.
Oh, God.
And Bruce Springsteen is banned in our house.
So we move from Ohio State at Rutgers to Washington at USC. That is the night game on ABC. The spread is Washington -3. Over under is 76.5. Again, if honestly, I am dumb enough to take the over in this game, and it would probably hit. Yeah. Like literally, like every single game in the Pac-12 usually hits 40, 50. Like each team scores 40, 50 points.
Mm-hmm.
I see this being a blowout. And I see it being a blowout one-sided. Just because I think Washington has the better team. And I think they have the better quarterback right now. Right now, if we're talking right now, I think Penix Jr. is a better quarterback than Caleb Williams.
Yeah. Not a better prospect, but probably a better quarterback, right?
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just don't. I think Washington has a lot riding on this right now. If they get this win, it's huge for them. They get to go. Well, they don't. Well, they have to play USC in the Big Ten as well. But like going into like the new era with the Big Ten and having one up on USC and kind of giving the blueprint on how to beat them, I think that's very possible here. I think this could turn into a rout real quick. Jim?
Yeah, I was just looking on ESPN here. The matchup predictor has USC 54% chance to win this game. That's wild.
Don't know why.
That's wild to me. That's probably a reason why. That's probably a reason why a lot of people at ESPN are getting let go. I like Washington in this. I really I think Penix is gonna shape up after 2 slumpy games he just had.
Agreed.
This game is at USC. It is a night game. Expect a great atmosphere here. There better be a great atmosphere.
There never is, though.
That's my concern, right?
We should boot USC's ass out of the fucking Big Ten.
Yeah.
If this game is not sold out and just loud as fuck, then fuck them. Get them out of here.
Well, guess what? Don't worry. This time next year, Nebraska will be it'll be a home game for the Huskers when they go to USC. And I love that shit. Let's take over every like new place.
I was gonna say, next year it is going to be like the Rams and the Chargers now at every USC home game. It's going to be all alum from the other school just taking over the Coliseum because I can go see a game at the Coliseum. Absolutely, sign me up.
Yeah, exactly. That's how that's gonna go. But Brad,
it's going to be an explosion of offense. And I can't watch this game. It seems like I think it could be close. That number of -3, which is what it's at now for Washington, seems super far off. Just solely for the fact that these are 2 really good offenses. And USC stumbled a little bit. They haven't looked as great, but spotlight, late night, there's nothing else going on. Baseball's over. Like Williams probably is feeling a little bit of the heat now that he's out of the conversation of Heisman. And he's just like, hey, like, weight off the shoulder. I'm not winning back-to-backs. I should go out there and ball, and let's see what happens. And that number of -3 seems like right on the money. Like, I don't think it's off. I think it's just going to be an exciting back-and-forth game. Feels like it's going to end in, like, the 40s. Like, they're both going to have, like, 40-plus points. I wouldn't be shocked if it was overtime.
Yeah.
That would not – it covers in overtime, but I wouldn't be shocked if it goes.
Yeah. Agreed. I kind of like the over here. A little bit. I'm just insane because it's like I also took the over in that Colorado USC game.
Yeah.
And I was sweating that bitch out for like a whole hour and a half.
Whenever you're close to like the 80 number, it's hard to look at it and be like, well, I think they might just score a shit ton of points. Who knows?
It's so ridiculous. I mean, Washington has like the number 1 or number 2 offense in the country. So I mean, and USC is scoring 45 points a game. It seems like so. It's very doable. It's very doable. From one night game to another night game, Brad, your LSU Tigers are going to Tuscaloosa and taking on the Crimson Tide. And you know what? This is when when these 2 teams play, it's like, God damn it. Like that's when you know you're getting towards the end of the season, and it really starts to gets depressing. But I've loved the matchups. I've always loved the matchups. Like since Saban has gone to Alabama, those LSU Bama games have been incredible games.
All good, all a lot of fun. Even the losses, there was like 1 or 2 just bad LSU losses in there. But I mean, you come back. I think the year we had Burrow, we had a very good win against them, and it's one of those games I just look forward to every single year. I'll be texting my uncle and my family the whole entire time. I'm sure they'll be down there at the game.
Hell yeah.
It is going to be awesome. I cannot wait. This is the highlight of the weekend.
What are your thoughts? What's your kind of analysis on it? What do you
I think I was talking to a buddy at work. He's a Navy guy. He's from Alabama. And I walked in this morning. And I was like, you ready for this weekend? You ready to get rocking? He was like, yeah. I'm like, I just want to give you a quote real quick. Good offenses in college football beat good defenses in college football nowadays. That's how you win. Now with Nick Saban, quote, LSU's got a good offense. Alabama's got a good-ish defense, but good offenses beat good defenses in college football now. It's like Nick Saban's calling his shot for LSU without realizing it. It's going to be LSU this weekend. It's all Tigers, baby. I think they're going to really, really take it to Bama. I think it's going to be kind of high scoring. LSU's defense is a little decimated right now on the corner front. They're going to have some lower star recruits, like a 3-star is probably starting for one of our corner slots. And we lost one of our best defensive players for the year. But doesn't really matter in a sense because it's Alabama and LSU. You kind of throw everything out. It's like no one's taking a playoff. That LSU offense is humming now. I know they just had 2 weak opponents in a row between Army and Auburn, and they put up a bunch of points. But the team is firing all cylinders. Brian Thomas is an absolute stud, and he's our number 2.
Yeah.
Malik Neighbors, there's been a bunch of chatter I've been hearing, Marvin Harrison Jr., maybe he gets a Heisman, just like, what's his face? Devontae Smith did a couple years ago.
Yeah, Devontae Smith,
Go look at the stats. Malik Neighbors has better stats than Marvin Harrison Jr. right now. He is one of the best players in college football. And I cannot wait for this weekend. It is going to be an awesome game. My future's on LSU SEC champion, and Dane Daniels are going to be riding hot this weekend. We're hoping for the best.
I don't know, Brad. I don't know. Bama plays well. Bama plays well off of a bye. It's kind of like Andy Reid off a bye. Yeah. They're usually pretty fucking good.
Oh, LSU's coming off a bye too. We're right in there, right? So...
Oh my God. I don't know. We'll see. I love watching these games because they always get chippy. I love when rivalries get chippy. Like, not to the point where they're throwing fisticuffs, but like when it gets chippy, like that's when it's really a big deal to the players. And I love that shit. Nate?
The difference in this game, Brad, at Tuscaloosa at night. Tough place to play. Especially when Bama's rolling. And LSU's rolling too. I like what you said about LSU, but you almost convinced me to take LSU. I can't go against Nick Saban, though. Nick Saban's just a better coach. And that's it.
Oh,
that's it.
Kelly's problem is he speaks clear English.
Fuck
shit.
Brian Kelly. I am tired of Brian
Kelly.
Yeah,
I agree.
Everything else about LSU is better than Bama. But the coach,
I agree.
Got to go with Nick Saban.
I will say this: the way Brian Kelly, when he first was not first introduced, but when he like showed up at like either a women's basketball game or a men's basketball game, tried to do the Southern accent. I was like, dude, you are not.
Howdy, boss.
Out, buddy.
No. How will do? It's like, shut the
boss.
Dude. It was real bad.
We're gonna go catch shrimp on the bob, eh?
Oh Jesus,
Brian.
Right,
Brian. That's Australian. Oh,
Brian.
What do you guys catch here? You go get the Guyzz. You get the Guyzz. Get the teeth around the necklace.
I don't know. I'm leaning towards Bama right now, but I like the energy Brad's bringing right now. I love that energy. So we'll see.
It's gonna be awesome. That's like all that matters, right? Like
it's always
gonna be a hell of a game.
It's always a must-watch game. I mean, every year you gotta watch that game.
Agreed.
Watch
it. Agreed. Go from one side of the SEC to the other side. Missouri at Georgia. Georgia's favored by 15.5 or 15. I think it's 15. Or is it 18.5? I can't remember.
Missouri, Georgia.
15.5. Over under is 55.5. I was told specifically by my brother-in-law to not pick this game. I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep my promise or not.
Are you going to listen to your brother-in-law?
I'm not, but also my counterpoint is that they're 2-0 when I bet on them.
Ooh.
I don't know whether I'm the lucky charm, but like 15.5. It is Georgia. It is in Athens, but like I feel like this is one of their toughest tests to date. Yeah. This team matches up so well against Georgia. Mm-hmm. Their defense is stout, and they just have really impressed me. Their quarterback usually, like I think his name is Connor something. I can't remember. Like, I really should do some more research on Missouri, but I
Who?
really.
I can't. I don't have the time to be researching Missouri football.
Brady Cook. Brady Cook.
Cook.
Brady Cook. He's got 2,250
Connor
yards. Yeah, I don't know. Brady
Great
Cook.
quarterback
Sorry.
name.
Yeah.
Great quarterback name. That's an A+ quarterback name.
Brady Cook, 2,200 yards, 15 touchdowns. He's having a pretty good year, and I also like their running back Cody Schrader. He was a transfer from a smaller school, and he's had a really, really good season. I feel like if they can, I feel like if they can do up tempo, get Georgia on their heels, I think they have a chance in this game. I really do. Georgia, like, again, hasn't really impressed me all that much. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like the same situation with Michigan, right? Like, they're beating the teams that they're supposed to, but like that Vandy first half was very uncharacteristic. Very uncharacteristic. And I feel like if you are able to attack where their weaknesses are, obviously, and then this is just for football in general, like, I feel like if you come out and punch them in the face, you got to be the aggressor in this. Missouri has to come out and take chances when they have them. And I don't know. I think Missouri's
only
got a chance to cover it
3 times this year.
Yeah, so I feel like
Ball State, Kentucky, and Florida. RIP our bets last week, but
yeah,
they barely covered this whole year, except when you bet on them, apparently. But it's kind of indicative of that Georgia team in a sense, even though it's tangential to gambling in a way. They haven't really beat anybody bad and like they just kind of come out there and play their game and win, but never definitively. You never feel great about it.
No, yeah, agreed. I like Missouri. I'm gonna get a tongue lashing for if I pick this game. Like, he's just gonna be so mad. But I don't know. I like them in this spot. I really do. Jim.
This feels like a game against Georgia had last year against a hot Kentucky team. And Kentucky, I feel like, was like going into the game against Georgia was like 5-0 or 5-1 or something last year.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, this could be Georgia's toughest game of the season and everything. Georgia went out there and beat them by 28 points. Like, I feel like this Georgia team, they're not flashy, but they win the games. They win the games they're supposed to. They win all their games. They just have too much talent. And for Missouri to stay in this game, for Missouri to have a chance in this game, they got to get Luther going, Luther Burden. They have to get him going. They have to get that guy open. They have to hit like the time or the times they have him open or a chance to get him open. They have to hit him, like, because if he doesn't get at least 7 to 10 targets this game, it might be a long game for the Missouri Tigers. So I really do. I feel like I hope this game's close just for a college football standpoint, but I feel like Georgia's gonna,
sanity.
I feel like Georgia's just going to walk away with this. I don't know, 14 at least, but Georgia's just too good. It's hard to go against. Even if Missouri was undefeated right now, I'd still be like, dude, stack up. They don't stack up evenly.
It's my Rutgers logic from earlier.
Yeah.
It's like, well, yeah, I mean, it could be close, but it's also Ohio State versus Rutgers.
Yeah, I know.
Versus Missouri, like,
right? Exactly.
Your brain is telling you one thing, like, loud and clear. It's like, that's 2 different programs. Like, that's 2 different states.
Brad, what are your takes?
I kind of think it's Georgia wins but doesn't cover, but it's never close. Like, they just get out to
kind
a
of
big
feels
lead.
like like they backdoor cover.
Even if they don't even backdoor cover, they win by like 16 or something. Like it's never close, but the cover's kind of close. But they never they're never up by like 20.
Right.
Okay. They're just perpetually within like 7 to 14 points of each other until the end.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. And every time Mizzou scores, Georgia's just going to like come back and score immediately, and it's going to be back and forth. It feels like one of those games.
No, for sure. For sure. Now to the game of the day for at least 2 of us. Bracket. Brad's gonna check out here for a second.
Bathroom break.
Yeah. Pretty good bathroom break there, Brad. We got Nebraska at Michigan State. -2, -3. Yeah, -3. Had it at -3. Yeah, it's -3. Over under is, man, this is great podcasting when you don't know. Over under is 34.5. Jesus Christ, that's a low over under. My God, that's really bad. That's really bad. My take is I like the Huskers with 3. I think.
Oh, I do too. Anything below 7 is perfect.
Yeah. Anything below 7, I feel comfortable betting.
Yep.
Like I can't trust them. Like we got burnt. We got burnt when they were 11.5 point favorite, and we all thought, oh man, they're gonna do it. Not a chance. This team just wins close games. I mean, except for last week, they won by what, 12?
Yep.
Yeah, they won by 12. But like Michigan State, like I said, on Wednesday's podcast. Sorry, I mean, without all the shit that's going on with that program, they could easily be a 6-2 team.
Yeah.
Like they have a lot of bad bounces. They remind me of what the Huskers were the last 5-6 years. Like they just have those bounces. They're in games late and they just find ways to lose. And my thing is that Nebraska has to find ways to not turn the ball over.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if they don't turn the ball over at all, it could be a blowout. It could be ugly early. But they have to take care of the ball.
Yeah.
You can't go -9. Like it's in the like Brad, the only reason why like the turnover margin, they are -9 in turnover margin and they're 5-3.
That's real gross.
And the only reason why they're 5-3 is because they have a top 15 defense. That's literally the only reason why. And I feel like if we don't put ourselves in terrible positions, this could get ugly early. Or if we have turnovers, it could be a 1-score game. I do like -3 for sure. So I don't know. It's crazy. Nate?
So the turnover stat, we in the Big Ten, we're last in turnover margin right now. In Michigan State is second to last in turnover.
Oh God.
I mean, like whoever holds onto the ball is going to win this damn game. And I feel like just based on what Coach Matt Rule said in his presser today, they worked on different hills to hang on to the ball and ball security and everything. So we'll see if it pays off. I do like this -3 Huskers. I think the Huskers win, kind of like last week. I feel like Huskers can put up 30 against Michigan State. Might have to have a defense or a special team score again. That's fine with us as long as we win and win by 3 because I'm picking you guys. I liked what we saw last week against Purdue offensively and play calling wise. We ran the option a hell of a lot more, and we kept it very, very simple and very, very black and white for Heinrich to just do what he does best and be a baller. Just go out there and ball. That's all we care about. You don't have to be flashy. You don't need to throw 300 yards because you never will. We don't have the wide receivers to do that.
No.
So I like the Skurs here -3. I feel like they can walk into Spartan Stadium, a very hostile place, but who knows how it's going to be with all the shit going on there. It's
2-16.
Michigan State is not a good university right now.
No.
I mean, I'm excited for the game. We have a chance to go be 6-3, bowl eligible since 2008
and have
2016, dude. We have a chance, man. Let's go. Let's rally behind the boys and let's drink some bushels and win this game. So
it's
pumped.
Gonna be Brad. You're gonna have to be the one that gives me score updates.
I'll do my best.
Yeah. Brad, what's your kind of take on this game? What would you if you were to bet, what would you take?
You guys are away. Michigan State feels like the grossest team in the world right now from everything going on in that program. I feel like I should just take you guys with the points, but all this game reminds me of I kind of like miss Michigan State being good at football. They were always kind of like a fun, scrappy team with like Connor Cook and Kirk, and they always were more exciting. And seeing them kind of just wither away is not very fun. I don't particularly like it. They were always the team that like you felt live with them, whoever they were playing. It was like Michigan State's not that great this year, but wouldn't be shocked if they beat Michigan. Wouldn't be shocked if they come in and pull like an upset or two.
Yeah.
And it kind of sucks just to not have them be a good football team and make this matchup a little more exciting for both sides.
Yeah.
You don't want boring games. Blowouts are not like that fun, really, at the end of the day.
No, but I, as a Husker fan, I would like a blowout.
Oh, you love a blowout as a fan, but like at the same time,
yeah.
you're like, I do get a little more juice about the overtime.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the slate for this week in college football. Let's get into our pick'ems. Brad, your first pick.
Yeah. Well, my first pick is an obvious pick for me. My Bayou Bengals. Bryant Denny Stadium don't mean shit. They come in there as dogs. Jalen Daniels shoots up ahead of Michael Penix as the Heisman favorite after smoking Alabama. LSU money line. Let's ride, boys. And that's not my only bet from this game. We're coming back to it.
Jesus Christ. All right. Nate, your first pick.
My first pick, I got Wyoming versus Colorado State. Wyoming didn't play very good at all last week against Boise State. They got kind of their asses whipped. But I like Wyoming here against Colorado State just as a better team, better coach team. Wyoming's favored by 5. So, yeah, give me the Cowboys.
All right. With my first pick, I'm going to go Washington -3. I think they are the better team. I don't like USC at all. I think they are – this is bound – this could be a 3-point –
I think you've picked against USC every year.
Yeah, you might be
or every week.
I have, and I've almost been right every week. I don't know. I didn't pick – well, I didn't pick Cal last week. I should have. Just to be petty, because they like USC was like a 24.5-point favorite or some shit like that.
Really?
And they won by 1. So if that doesn't tell you anything, then yeah. I like Washington here. I also am gonna sprinkle in that over. I've talked myself into that over. I love sweating. I love sweating out overs now. Apparently, you know,
it's a lot of fun.
The overs club.
You're rooting for fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I want points. Damn it, Brad. Your second pick.
My second pick. I'm going to go OK State +6. I feel like that Oklahoma team has really slid the past couple of weeks. Don't look as good. Dylan Gabriel is kind of looking off. He's not finding guys like he did during that Texas game. And I think Texas is the better team still, even after they lost Oklahoma. And OK State's finding its groove. And you know, last Bedlam, I think they're like 91 and like 19 against Oklahoma. I think they want to end this thing on a win badly. That almost makes up for being so far in debt. So I'll take Oklahoma State +6. I like them to come and do that.
Nate, second pick.
My second pick, I got Ole Miss versus Texas A&M. Ole Miss is -3. I like Ole Miss here. I like their offense. I know A&M's kind of looking a little better. I still don't believe in Jimbo Fisher. Yeah, give me Ole Miss -3.
Well, Brad stole my pick. Not again. No, but I'm gonna. You know what? I'll pick that one later. I'm gonna go with Mizzou +15. Sorry, Arlie.
Woo!
I love this spot. It could bite me in the ass so badly, but I gotta ride the hot hand, man. They're 2-0 when I bet with them. I don't care if it's gonna sound terrible, and I hope Arlie doesn't watch this episode. Does he watch it? Probably not. He just likes to criticize us on Twitter, but whatever. But I am taking the Tigers +15 here. I like this spot. I like it. Brad, third pick.
Third pick, we're going back to LSU, Alabama. Brian Thompson, or Thomas, it's not Thompson, Thomas, over 66.5 receiving yards. He has been LSU's number 2 this year, but it is more like a 1B. He is tied for the lead in all of college football for touchdowns. I think that Alabama is going to try to eliminate Malik Neighbors from the equation. And Brian Thomas is going to go out there and show out and be like, look, Malik Neighbors is the big guy this year. I'm the big guy next year. So I think this is his coming out party and shows the national audience that he's that good.
Nate.
My third pick, I'm going to go to this ugly game with a very, very struggling team. Notre Dame versus Clemson. Notre Dame's favored. I have them by 3.
Yeah, 3's the number.
I hate Notre Dame. I hate Notre Dame so much.
So do
But
I.
I love watching them. Like,
Yeah, I love every Notre Dame game I watch.
I love watching Sam Hartman. I am a huge fan of Marcus Freeman. I think that dude is I think Notre Dame has a hell of a coaching staff. What's his name? Tyler Reese. I know it's Reese. Is it Tyler though? Tyler Reese from Bama.
Yeah.
Oh no. Bama stole him. That's right.
Yes, Bama stole Tyler Reese.
So
it's the other way around.
So scratch that. But, I just feel like Sam Hartman's going to cook against Clemson, and the reason why I'm bringing this game up is because does anyone remember the last time Clemson had a losing record?
It was 2021.
Been a long time ago.
I think it's longer than that because I don't even.
Wait,
before Taj Boyd.
Yeah, I was gonna say DJ never even went under 500.
Was it the year before? Was it Dabo's first year in 2008?
Might have been around there. I wouldn't be shocked.
Because we played them in the Gator Bowl in 2009. They played them in 2009.
Yeah.
Was it 2009?
Either 2009 or 2008.
Anyway,
I remember.
I just wanted to bring that up because we have a chance to see Clemson have a losing record for the first time in, let's just say, 15 years. 15 years sound good?
I'd give or take. Yeah.
Give me Notre Dame -3.
I like that.
I love that. Clemson cost me a lot of money this year, so.
I knew you were gonna. You always bring it up, but I absolutely love it. And the fact that Dabo Swinney is getting bullied on his own coach's show is hilarious.
And one of my best friends went there, and they try to claim that they're the real Death Valley and everything. Get out of here. Get out.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I'm going with the for sure pick. Didn't happen last week because they didn't play. Under Iowa, Northwestern. 30.5.
Go.
Give me it. It's the lowest goddamn under in college football history. They're playing in Wrigley Field. Like that's cool. Actually,
that's cool.
Are they really playing?
That's
in
awesome.
Wrigley?
That's sick.
They're playing in Wrigley. Even more on the under. Even more on the under.
Tune into the game now that they're playing.
Okay, so all right, so Luke, you watched you've seen the Northwestern game. They won last week. Okay.
Yeah,
you took the under this week. Does Northwestern win this week?
I think Northwestern.
You took the under. Yeah. Your pick is the under. That's set in stone.
It's the under.
I just want to. What do you guys think? Does Northwestern beat Iowa?
I think they do.
They have to keep it. They have to keep it close.
Yeah. Northwestern played very good against. Who'd they play last week? Anyway, they played
Maryland.
Very good. Oh yeah,
they're playing a lacrosse school. It doesn't count. Maryland's only good at lacrosse and basketball.
Cross school.
They're lacrosse school.
But seriously, Northwestern played damn good against Maryland. I mean, they scored some points, and I just got a feeling that Northwestern might beat Iowa. Luke, I don't know.
I hope so. I hope that does happen, just so that it muddies up the Big Ten West, so that if we end up winning
even
out,
more,
there's no question about who's the better team in the Big Ten West. No question.
All right, Brad. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Oh no, I love it. It's my fourth pick, correct? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're going. We touched on this a little bit. Washington USC over 76.5. This number's kind of sat there all week. I still think everyone's taking the over, which makes me a little nervous. I don't see how this game goes under. Washington's defense hasn't looked great, and USC's defense is garbage.
Thank you.
Both offenses are good. It feels like it's going to be like a 47 to 42 game or something ridiculous like that. It seems like they're. I didn't look if there were props for how many punts were going to be in this game, but I would take it under on whatever that number is. I don't think anyone's going to punt, even if it's 4th and 10. I think they're just going to be it's the other team's defense, and they're not good. We're throwing. So it's going to go over.
Agreed.
And I'm just going to have a lot of fun sweating out because it's going to be a fun game anyway.
Yeah,
dude, you and me both. We'll be sweating it out together.
Yeah, Brad, the ladies out of town. I'll be hanging out doing nothing with the cat, and we're just going to be watching it.
All right, so Brad, I want you to do some research. I want to see if there actually is a bet, and it can be in NFL too. How many punts a game there is?
You can find them.
Can you literally? That
Oh
is
yeah,
hilarious.
you could definitely find. It's harder to find on some of like the actual books, but you start looking at some offshores, you can find them on the offshores for sure.
I would take the over in punts in any Iowa game.
Oh,
Yeah.
The punter's their best player.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, he's probably gonna be the first team All-American for them.
Yeah,
first team All-American punter, baby. Anyway,
all right. So my fourth pick in college football, I'm gonna go to the old Big Ten game, Wisconsin versus Indiana. Wisconsin, I have them favored 9.5. I took Indiana against Penn State for the plus. I'm gonna take Indiana again. I think Indiana's scrappy to a standpoint, and that they'll still lose this game. Wisconsin's coming off a very, very hard game against Ohio State. They're going to be a little bruised up and everything. They'll win this game. Indiana covers plus 9.5.
Not a bad pick. I'm going to Bedlam too, +6. Okie State. For whatever. I mean, Brad's on it. I think they want to get that last win. I think they want to get that last win against Oklahoma and kind of shove it up their ass, as they should.
Yep.
Just to kind of big so I like Oklahoma State here.
Yeah.
Brad,
we're going to have all the celebs out too from Oklahoma State. All the ex-golfers are going to be there. All the big time names.
Barry Sanders.
Yeah, everyone's going to be rolling up to Oklahoma for that game. It's going to be fun. My final pick is Texas -4 over Northwestern. I was really torn about this game, but it was a game I was shocked we kind of didn't cover. But Kansas State is good. They're a solid team, and they've kind of figured out what their offense is, and they run the hell out of the ball, and they're solid. But Texas looked good. I think you get another week with Malik. He's kind of figured out the offense a little more. He knows He realized last week he needs to be athletic. If he gets hit, it's not good for him. He fumbled on it's basically his first hit. So he's a little bit better ball security, a little less nerves coming into this game. It's at home. And it's one of those gut picks where it's like, we kind of talked about this a couple times today with like Rutgers and Ohio State and some other schools. Texas is the true blue blood there. It's Texas football, and Texas has been back multiple times, but I think they cover this number at home. If it was an away game, I'd be nervous. But it's not, and I think Texas comes out and wins this one. And we talked about it last week too. Malik it's like his contract year in the NFL. He's trying to show off for whatever team he's going to play for next year.
Agreed. Nate?
My final pick, I'm going to homer the shit out of this one, just like last week. The Huskers versus the Spartans, Nebraska versus Michigan State. Nebraska is favored 3. I like the way Nebraska's playing. I like their defense. I feel like their defense is going to dominate even more. What they get, 8 or 9 sacks against Purdue? Against Card?
8.
Big number.
8? I like
No,
them to
it
match
was 6.
that.
It was 6. It was 6.
Was it 6? I still like them to match that, even go over. Luke, I'm going to sprinkle in a little over on the spread here. So give me the Skurs by 3.
You're crazy.
No, dude. I'm crazy. We scored 31 points last week. Scored 31 points, man. Dude,
what if we hit an over?
We're only getting better, Luke. We're only getting better.
What if we hit an over?
Last week?
Fine. You could throw,
last week?
Throw it.
Last week.
Did they hit it? What was the over under?
Yeah, we hit it, dude. It was like 34. It was like 34.
The snow was supposed to come in. That number went down.
Yeah.
What?
Give me Nebraska -3
Christ.
and hit the over. Hammer the over, Luke.
Love it.
If we die, we die. I would say it again.
Ride till you die, dog.
Do it, Luke.
We're riding with our own dogs this week. We got to ride them.
I am. I'm taking the Huskers -3. I mean,
Brad said it.
Obviously.
Ride with your home dogs, dude.
Yeah, ride with your dogs, man.
Dude, hey, ride with the boys until next week, where Brad and us are going to be at each other's throats. We should make.
I don't really care about Maryland football that much.
Damn it, Brad! Brad, you got to put some skin in the game. We should make a bet. We should make like an actual bet for us.
Yeah, we can figure something out.
I like this idea. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Huskers -3. I think they're the better team. I think they need a big road win. I am not touching the over. That. I know my team. I think they're gonna win ugly.
Well, you don't
which
know
is
them well
how
enough, dude. Let's go.
as many times as I've seen this offense fumble the ball or turn the ball over, I am not comfortable with the over there. If I had anything, I would take the under. And
What
if
is
they
the over?
cover
I bet
the over,
that was a blind
dude,
bet.
you bet
It
it and
was
you
a
did.
blind
Oh
bet.
my God,
It
that's
was a blind
bad
bet, guys.
Dude, it's 34.5. That was
Give
terrible.
me the over. Hammer
Dude,
the
you're
over.
Crazy.
Hammer
You're
the
crazy.
over.
You're crazy. You're crazy. You're crazy. All right, Brad, your picks.
My first pick, LSU money line.
Nice.
We take it in Bama, Tuscaloosa, the home of the Tigers after this weekend. Number 2, OK State plus 6.5. I think they may even have a chance to win it all. The last bedlam. Let's go for it. Number 3, Brian Thomas over 66.5 receiving yards for LSU. He makes the country aware that he is the next big LSU receiver. We are now receiver U and DBU for sure. Number 4, Washington, USC over 76.5. It's going to be a barn burner. There are going to be a ton of touchdowns and a lot of big throws. And then Texas -4. It's going to be the sweat of the weekend, I think, for us. It's going to be a tough one, but Texas at home, we're going to roll with them.
Nate, your picks.
All right, I got Wyoming versus Colorado State. I got Wyoming -5. Ole Miss versus A&M. I got Ole Miss -3. Notre Dame versus Clemson. I got Notre Dame -3. Wisconsin versus Indiana. I got Indiana plus 9.5. And Nebraska versus Michigan State. Nebraska -3.
GBR.
And the over. Let's ride or die, Luke. Hop in,
All
baby. Let's go.
No, I'm not hopping in on the over. I'm not touching
go.
dude. All right, mine. Washington -3, also 76.5, over 76.5. Okie State plus 6.5. Mizzou plus 15. Iowa Northwestern under 30.5. Hammer that under. And Nebraska -3. That's our picks for college football. Let's talk about the NFL. First game, Germany game. Dolphins at Chiefs in Germany. 8:30 kickoff or 9:30 kickoff on East Coast Brad's time zone.
Yep.
8:30 kickoff for us. The over-under is 51.5, and the Chiefs are favored -1.5. It's basically a pick'em game, or 50.5. Sorry, 50.5 is the over-under. -1.5 Chiefs. It's basically a pick'em game. Mahomes, after a loss, the offense averages 30 points a game. I like that spot. I think the Chiefs just come out and are like, shit, we gotta prove it. Those wide receivers have to make catches, and they're just gonna have to be tested the entire time. Yes, Jalen Ramsey is playing, but they are still without Xavier Howard, which I think is a big miss. And I just like the Chiefs here in Germany. Like, yes, yes, the Dolphins have been there since Monday, or have been there since, well, Tuesday technically, but like, Andy Reid's 2-0 in international games. So I don't hate the spot. I think the Chiefs have a chance to really, really make a stand on, we are still the number 1 team in the AFC. This is how they prove it. And I'll have a pick for you guys later on. Nate.
Yeah, this Dolphins Chiefs game is going to be very interesting. Be a great game to wake up to. Pour yourself a hot cup of Joe and sit down in your skivvies and watch good football. I mean, you're going to watch some damn good offense play in this game. You're going to watch a great crowd with them Germans over there. They're going to be football. And yeah, I'm excited for this game. This game is 2 juggernauts of the AFC. Gonna be a good game. I got a pick later. So,
Brad.
I'm so excited for this. Being a East Coaster and 9:30 is that ideal start time. I would be able to get up, make myself a nice cup of coffee, open the doors up, get the house a little cool, and just sit down and watch this game. I'm excited to see the game in Germany too. Germany is a sick fan base for their football teams.
Soccer, yeah.
And so they love going absolutely wild, and I think it's going to be a really fun game. And I think the Chiefs bounce back a little bit.
Yeah,
it's such a stinker last week, and it,
no shit.
kind of 2 weeks in a row, my picks get a little screwed by coaches not telling us the truth. Between Degen not playing because Arthur Smith is a psycho, and then Mahomes getting the flu, and no one knowing until kickoff that we're like, oh, he's sick, and it's like, well, great, there goes that number. I don't feel comfortable anymore. And I think the Chiefs kind of want to make a statement here. They want to come and be like, look, we are the big dog. And the Dolphins are terrible against good teams. They are really bad. I forget the stat I saw, but I don't think they beat a winning team since like very early last year.
Yeah.
So I think the Chiefs kind of pull this one out. And you have the whole 2 mindset philosophy or getting over early, getting over a little later. I know, me and Luke, we went overseas last year. Early this year, yes. And the jet lag thing it's not bad if you know what you're doing.
Exactly.
And they're telling these guys like, hey, we're going to land at X time. Don't sleep. Try to get yourself acclimated to that normal schedule as fast as possible. The science behind that has changed so much. It's the same thing I kind of talked about with Denver last week of like, they now understand how to play Mile High. They've been doing these London games forever now, and Germany's an hour or 2 different, I want to say.
Wow, that's crazy. I thought it was more.
No, it's not far. It's not a long flight. It's like a 3-hour flight, maybe 2-3 hour flight. It's not a huge difference. I think they just kind of understand how their team works a little bit better too.
Yeah.
And just get them over there. Be like, hey, here's day 1. If you follow our rules on day 1, you're going to be good to go for the next couple. So I feel pretty good about the Chiefs.
And a lot of guys like Justin Reed today, they talked to him and he was like, I've been up since 3 a.m.
Yeah.
You kind of just have to stay up that day before flight, because if you leave the night, like you leave, like they're probably leaving tonight. Like I would imagine they're probably already in the air and they're probably halfway.
Yeah.
And I mean, once they get there, it's going to be morning. It's going to be Friday morning. And it'll just be like your clock, your body clock will instantly kick in. And I feel like that's the perfect way to do it. And they've been practicing in their own facility. I don't know how that really works for Miami. They've been practicing. Those facilities might not be up to par. So that might be something. Also, Tyreek Hill has been running his mouth, which by the way, did anybody see the story about his agent trying to screw the Chiefs, trying to get more money?
Did not see that, but
I don't know how
the man deserves all the money. So I don't care.
Not screwing, but like Tyreek was cool with getting $58 million a year and playing with the Chiefs. He never wanted to leave Kansas City.
He just wanted guaranteed, and Chiefs couldn't.
Yeah.
That's all. Like he was cool with $58 million, but he wanted it guaranteed, and like that couldn't happen. So the Dolphins and Jets could guarantee their offers.
The fact that he talked about Zach Wilson, I'm like,
I know. Come on, no, dude. Nah.
Stop.
You said that shit about Tua. Okay, we'll give you a pass. But Zach Wilson, nah.
He's like the X factor in this game. It could be the full-on revenge game terrifyingness.
But
like all of a sudden it's halftime and Tyreek has 2 touchdowns and like 80 yards already. You're like,
I feel like that won't. It could happen, but I feel like the likelihood of it happening is very slim to none, because like our best part of our defense is arguably our secondary.
Yeah.
And they match up really well. They've played against him in practice. A lot of these guys have played against Tyreek in practice. Sure. So it's like, all right, we know what defenses did against us when we had Tyreek. It's just like, if you let him get yards, just don't let him score. Like, and that's kind of how you beat Miami. And our defensive line is also really good. They can get to 2, and I feel like that's the edge. Going from Germany back home, we got the commies versus the Patriots.
Yeah.
Patriots are favored by 3.5, and the over-under is 40.5. And I don't understand why the hell the Patriots are favored in this game. I get it. And by the way, Brad, what the hell did you?
Commanders just gave away their defense.
Yeah. Now, what is your thoughts on that?
I have a lot of thoughts on it. So I might rant here for a minute, but it's not a negative rant actually. I liked both trades. I thought they were smart.
Wow. Okay.
So this team and this franchise for a long time has been our fan base rants on it like, oh, we get all these comp picks for not keeping guys. It's like, well, wouldn't you rather keep some of these guys? Both Young and Sweat at the end of the year, we're going to pretty much be free agents. We may have tagged Young, but we have put so much money in the D line between Payne and Allen. It's hard to build a defense when you have that much money on your two tackles, who I love. Both those guys. They are like hands down some of the most exciting and fun players we've had on the Washington fan base in a long, long time. The Sweat trade I thought was fantastic. Getting a second for that guy who Sweat's best ability is availability, 100%. And that is why we got a second for him and a third for Chase. Sweat does not miss games. Really the only games he missed were last year, the season before. He broke his jaw in like a freak play, and then his brother died. And we were already out of it. So it was just kind of like, look, man, season's over. Go be with your family. Don't stress. And those are like the two games he's really missed in his career. And the dude is never going to light up the stat sheet, but he is a very solid player. I think the Bears got a good player. I don't know why the Bears traded for him, but I think it was
either. Like,
I don't know why.
I feel like Washington just like, I just had it. What they call it? Fleece the fuck out of the Bears. Yeah. I feel like the Bears don't know how free agency and trade works. Like,
he doesn't want to stay there. He's talked multiple times about wanting to go to Atlanta.
Yeah, he's gonna play the rest of the year. And he's gonna literally, okay, I'm gone because you're not gonna be able to afford me.
Don't understand it at all. But I thought that trade was an A+, and there was a lot of stuff coming out of our local reporters that Josh Harris was super involved in all of this. None of it came down from the current staff because none of them are going to be there in a year. They're all going to be gone. So
even
it was
Bieniemy,
really.
You think?
I think Bieniemy's gone too. I think that this was the sign for me that Bieniemy's gone, was trading Young and Sweat.
You think? Do you think he ends up with the Raiders?
I think he might. Fresh. Yeah, I think Josh Harris's thing with you look at the Devils, you look at the Sixers, they tore things down to the studs and rebuilt. And this is a team
we're very successful.
And we're successful. They're two great teams. I think this is the start of that for sure for our team. So I love the Sweat trade. The Young trade was harder to like kind of accept, but it reminded me of the Manny Machado trade for the O's a couple of years ago. When they traded him to the Dodgers. And it was kind of the sign for us as O's fans of like, this is the end. Like the run's gone. We're not going to try to sneak in to the playoffs. And the same thing here. They went, you know what? We're not going to try to sneak in. We're not going to try to be that last seed and get a wild card. We're going to get rid of the guys now before we don't get anything for them.
Right.
And Young is
you got to get draft capital. Yep.
You got to get draft capital, and it's a ton of high draft capital. I think we now have like the 11, 37, and like 42 pick or something right now. That is awesome. We haven't had that kind of high end capital in a long time.
Yeah.
So I like the trade.
It's amazing when you get someone in that office that knows what the doing, and it's kind of a sign of relief.
A week before this happened, we just signed a brand new analytics guy. And I'm sure he was in the room going, let's get these guys gone now. I don't think we have a chance to sign each one.
Was it Young? Hill?
I forget.
Moneyball. Underrated
Moneyball.
Sports movie.
Great
Moneyball.
I have some points about Moneyball. We can get into that later. Fantastic. I absolutely love Moneyball. It's real tough to watch that movie and realize they had the MVP that year, Miguel Tejada, and then Barry Zito, Tim Hudson, and I forget the Mark Mulder were like the three best pitchers in baseball that year. They didn't even mention their names in the whole entire movie. But I think it was a smart move to get rid of Young. Young's a tough one. He's been hurt, but when he is on the field outside of last year,
game wrecker.
He is a game wrecker. And that first year, he played so well. I was talking to my buddy. It was the first time we've had a guy that I saw break games since Sean Taylor. That fumble recovery for a touchdown he had was like, that was the closest thing I've seen to Sean Taylor cutting across the whole entire middle of the field, picking a ball off and taking it back for 6. Absolute freak. It just sucks to lose him. I'm very excited to see where it's one of the ones where you're like, I want to see this guy succeed. If he wins a championship this year, hell yeah, good for Chase. Local guy. He's from DeMatha. He went to DeMatha High.
Yeah.
It sucks to lose him, but I understand it from a.
Yeah.
This is what good franchises do sometimes.
Yep,
Is
that's what
we
happens.
identify our problems and we get you just move forward.
And you still have that
Great.
defensive guy to build around with
Yes.
Jonathan Allen. I mean, he's
Jerome
a
Payne.
brick wall, you know. So you still have
Yep.
guys there in that position. Just like quick tidbits from me on Chase Young. It was surprising, but then again, you dig deep on it, and exactly what you said. You got to get to draft capital because they're not going to make the playoffs this year.
Yep.
They know this year's a wash. They got to do something to build for the future. And I feel like losing Chase Young, because he is a young player and he's coming off. I mean, he's if he's 100%, he's one of the best edge rushers out there.
100%.
You know? Yeah. But he hasn't been 100% in recent years. So I'm with you, Brad. You really hit it on the head there with the making people understand why they traded it and how it's going to come out. And I like that. That's good.
It sucks and it hurts, but it's one of those things. I think luckily in this area we have two rebuilding baseball teams. One is now very successful. The only team that's been consistently good here for a long time has been the Ravens, and that is because they've drafted so well.
Yeah.
And they have made smart trades around the draft. They have gotten rid of guys early, and now you see us doing something similar. It's like, okay, let's see what happens. And it's gonna be a new regime. It's a new kind of whole entire organization behind it. It sucks because the rest of the year is kind of a wash, but there's still a lot to look for. And in this game especially, it's a good game to see what Sam Howell does as a quarterback. I think he looked really solid last week. He was a bad pick that he threw that kind of lost us the game, but he's a rookie, really. And that happens. And I've been impressed with him this year. When Bieniemy calls the offense to fit his skill set, we look great. The O-line is bad. The skill position's good. And I think you look at how many bad quarterbacks are starting this coming week. Sam's probably a top close to 15 quarterbacks starting this week. It's tough it would be tough for me to name a bunch of guys better than him this week because of all the bad quarterbacks starting. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be a really tight game. I think that number's probably on at the -3 at home for the Pats, but I think we're going to hang with them. I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to come down to a field goal or something dumb. But I'm excited to watch. I'm intrigued to see what the defense looks like. I think the last thing I'll say on the defense, getting rid of those two guys, wasn't like this defense was a world beater. We are 31st in points allowed and like 29th in yards. It wasn't like they were lighting this. It wasn't like it was a top 10 defense. We got rid of our two defensemen. They weren't great. And both those guys had problems sticking to the game plan and sticking to contain, especially Chase. Chase really liked to get upfield. So I'm intrigued to see what happens. It'll be a fun kind of game to watch. I'm sure I'll be locked in, but I'm looking forward to just seeing what the defense looks like.
Yep. And going from one Maryland team, well, no.
They're a Maryland team.
They're a Maryland team.
We're in Landover. It's the worst stadium in football. We're not going to talk about that problem.
To another Maryland team, Seahawks at Ravens. Baltimore is favored by 5.5. Over under is 43. I feel like these are the two teams in the NFL specifically that are scary teams to play right now. Mm-hmm. And the fact that they play each other is crazy. And I wish we could flex the Chargers-Jets game out and put this at Monday night, or because that Monday night's a stinker. We still got to talk about it. But the way Lamar is playing, the way Monken is calling the offense for them is so much better night and day to what they were last year. But I also really love that, the Seahawks just got better on defense. Mm-hmm. Like they just got Leonard Williams, and Jamal Adams is playing well. DK's getting the ball. Geno Smith's starting to get it. Kenneth Walker is being that guy. So it's kind of hard to choose who I really like in this game, but I think I have to give the edge to Baltimore because I feel like they have the better quarterback, and they're really, really playing well right now. Jim?
Yeah, Baltimore and Seattle's playing very, very good, like you just said, Luke. I like don't know. You think about this game more and more. You think about it too hard. You're going to flip your pick either way if you're for Seattle or for Baltimore. They're playing great. Baltimore has the edge on quarterback, but I feel like as a team, I like Seattle just because Seattle. Pete Carroll, I throw all the respect to him as much as he can get because that dude's a great coach. He's a great coach. Geno Smith
100%.
Almost was cut and playing for the USFL until he went to Seattle, gets the start,
and has run away with it.
I mean, he was a Pro Bowl quarterback last year. And who the thought that? I think Pete Carroll is a real deal. I like Seattle in this game. I really do. I think this is going to be one of them top games, one of the top games of the year. But I like Seattle here.
Brad?
Very close.
This is going to be an awesome game. I am so looking forward to this one. I'm with you. I think it's going to be a really close game. Baltimore definitely has the advantage of being home. That home crowd is going to be live. It's been a tough couple weeks for the Ravens and Baltimore fans between the O's and the Ravens not looking super hot. But they're going to come out hot. I think it's going to be a real back and forth game. That line seems almost a little too high because I feel like it's going to end up being a 3-point game. Just a lot of back and forth. But I'm excited for this one. It's going to be a good game.
Yep. Moving to one of the best games on the slate. Cowboys at Eagles. Eagles are favored by -3. Over under is 46. Cowboys coming off of a big win, regardless whether it's Rams. I get it, but they coming off of that bye, they really needed that bye, and that they sure look good. The Eagles obviously are they're playing well. I mean, they're the best team in the NFL, arguably, and I don't think it's really that big of a stretch. But it's just going to be one of those games, man. Eagles versus Cowboys. It's always good. So it's kind of my take on the game. Jim?
This is at the bank, right? This game's at the
bank. Yep.
I feel like home field advantage here gets just because Philly fans, dude, they're loud, they're proud, they love their Eagles. Eagles offense, other than AJ Brown. Did you see AJ Brown the last month had 700 receiving yards?
I'm gonna have nightmares.
He broke the record.
Ridiculous.
He broke the record for most consecutive 100-yard games, which was held by Calvin Johnson.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. AJ Brown's
that guy is a grown ass man. It looks like a man playing against boys. Last week 100%. He was terrifying. The guys be on top of him. He's still jumping up, catching the ball. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I like this game. I like the Cowboys defense in this game, but I like the Eagles as a team in this game way better.
Agreed.
Expect a close game. What was the spread? What was the spread? -3. Expect a close game. Expect a close game in this game.
Yeah.
Agreed. Brad?
Yes, the -3 number is pretty cool and interesting because for a long time in the NFL, -3 was the home field advantage. Now, the past 2-ish years, that has changed.
Agreed.
Home field is now only about 2. So they are saying the Eagles are about 1 point better on neutral field, which feels about right. I think it's going to be a tight, close game. The Eagles we watched them last week. I mean, they look odd. It doesn't look like the Eagle world beater teams they had last year, but at the same time, I mean, a guy like AJ Brown is a game breaker. Every time they threw in his direction, I was terrified. I was like, oh my God, I don't care who was on him. It was scary. And I was looking for some props on this game. I am intrigued. They didn't have it out yet, what Micah Parsons' tackles plus assists are. I think he could have a huge game with a kind of limped up Jalen. I'm intrigued to see what happens. I really do think the Eagles pull it out because of how wild their fan base are. I don't know if you guys have been to games in Philly.
Never going to, especially if the Chiefs are playing. No, not
Philly
Chiefs.
That'd be a complex. Is the best complex I've ever been to.
The link?
It is the whole thing. So it's one giant square. They have the link. They have the Philly Stadium, and then they have hockey and basketball all in one giant thing. The tailgate lots are in the center. It's one of the best places I've ever been to see games. I've seen some Philly games there, and then I've seen 3 or 4 Army-Navy games there.
It
is awesome. It is such a good setup, and those people are going to be out there early as hell getting fired up for this game. You're going to have a bunch of drunk, angry Philadelphia people at this game, and I do think in the case of this one, that's a 3-point home advantage.
Oh, agreed.
And I
Yeah.
think they do take the win, but it's going to be a good game.
Agreed.
Would highly suggest going to Philly for a game. Awesome place to catch a game.
As long as my team is not
I'd go.
playing them.
Look, buddy,
dude.
Army Navy comes back. Let's go. Army Navy there has been awesome. I've seen Army Navy games there.
I'll go to that.
Army Navy games, if you've never been, are the best games I've ever been to in my life. It is the most dedicated people in the world because they all served pretty much, and it is a unbelievable show of a game. We went to about 3 straight there in the earlier 2000s. My dad would take me up there every year with his 2 buddies. And we always somehow ended up sitting in the Army section, and we are Navy fans. Obviously, Annapolis is nearby. Yeah. That's, we're huge Navy fans. And the best one we ever had was I think it was the last game we went to. It snowed. Army on the first drives down to the 1-yard line. Navy strips the ball from their quarterback sprinting out, runs 99 yards all the way back to the house. There are 3 people standing up in our whole entire section. It's me, my dad, and our buddy Big Al, who was a Navy submariner, and we were screaming our heads off. And then we look around and realize we're the only people standing up. We sat down. We're like, okay, we're just gonna be quiet now. But it is an awesome place to catch a game. Highly suggest.
I will say this, Nate. If you felt uncomfortable at Arrowhead, it's 10 times worse, dude.
It's not that I felt uncomfortable. Worse. It's just I went there to watch the Jaguars, who were 1-4 when we played you, and you guys were undefeated. We're the worst. We were at that time the worst team in the NFL.
Yeah,
and you guys were top 2, and I was getting chirped at the entire time. I'm like, you guys are supposed to beat us.
Yeah.
I was so just pissed. I was like, Chiefs fans, they're arrogant as hell.
We gotta do a ranking during the offseason of the worst fan bases in NFL and college. That's a whole podcast.
Dallas Cowboys.
No shit. Cowboys, yep, Duke agreed.
Colorado Buffaloes.
Colorado. Anyway, Bills at Bengals for Sunday night. Yeah.
Finally good Sunday night game.
One more time.
I know. No, I'm not doing it one more time.
You can edit it out anyway. One more time.
Carry underwear pants for this too?
Oh no. They didn't come in. I'm a little on the heavy side, so they didn't fit.
Dude, the NFL's gonna boot Carrie Underwood for that song and put Taylor Swift on there.
Might have to.
Don't stop it.
Anyway,
Cincinnati -2, over under is 49.5. This is a great fucking game to end the day. You start off with Kansas City, Miami, then you go to there's a couple of games in between, Eagles, Cowboys, and then you end the night with Bengals, Bills. I like the Bengals in this situation. I think they're the better team. Allen's been too inconsistent this year. I just don't feel warm and fuzzy with them right now with the Bills. But that's kind of my take on this one. Yeah, Annie's hurt, so that kind of hurts their chances. But Jim,
2 weeks ago or something, I went on a tantrum saying I'm sick and tired of watching the it stands true today. I'm tired of watching the Bills. They better show up and give the American people a good game against Cincinnati. But because I'm tired of watching the Bills, I'm taking Cincinnati here. Give me Joe Burrow.
Yeah. Brad?
So it's a big weekend for the state of Louisiana.
Yeah.
LSU's going to go and win on Saturday, and then Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are going to win on Sunday night. I love the Bengals in this spot. I think the Bengals, again, I kind of mentioned it last week, they remembered who they are. They remember they're one of the best teams in football.
Agreed.
And they're going to – I think they're really, really going to put it to this Bills team that's banged up on defense, banged up on offense. And I like the Bills. I think they're a really solid football team that plays above their talent level from good coaching and good scheming. But the Bengals I think they're putting it into that another level right now. They're going to come out there and look like a Super Bowl caliber team. I'm super excited for this game. It's going to be an awesome Sunday night.
Yep. And then we go to Monday night, Chargers at Jets, -3. Like,
stinky.
Cool. Great. Charge. You got it. I think it could be interesting because both teams are kind of in that spot. They're kind of in that spot where they're like, oh, we're one play away to being over 500. Like, it's kind of like what the Chicago Chargers game was. Like, obviously the Chargers are a better team, but like the Jets could be a little scary spot here. I think the Chargers have a better team, and I think Stanley's probably going to figure it finally and not lose a game again. So, Jim?
Jets Chargers game for me. I'm going to save my pick for later because I have this in a pick game. So you got a good offense versus a good defense in this game, and that's all this game is going to turn out to be. Don't expect fireworks. Don't expect anything else. It's just going to be a good offense versus a good defense. We'll see who wins. I'm a defensive guy. We'll see. So that's all I got to say about this game because I'm kind of pissed that they allowed this game to like be the Monday night game.
Yeah, it's gross.
Agreed. Brad?
I don't know how to feel about this game. The Chargers feel like up and down every week, and they were up last week, so it feels like they are going to somehow lay an egg against a not good Jets team that they should beat. Again, the best bet might, again, be Brandon Staley, next coach, fired, since we lost Josh McDaniel this week. That Chargers team is so much better than they play, and that Jets defense is good, but I still think they probably pull it out. And the Jets don't really have a true home field. That stadium's so far outside the city, and it's just not a great location, not a great place. And the Chargers, maybe they kind of redo what they did last week and just go up big and coast.
Let's get into our NFL picks. Brad, start us off.
My first pick is going to be the early morning game because you have to bet on it because you're going to be up early. Kansas City -2. I think is the line right now. I saw 1.5 in a couple places, but -2 is the number. I think Kansas City rebounds from Denver last week. They were embarrassed, and this Dolphins team can't beat good teams. They beat up bad teams and lose to good ones. So I think Kansas City is a good team. They're going to win it.
Yeah, my first NFL game, I'm going with the Dolphins Chiefs, but I'm just going to say they're going to hammer the over. Two prolific offenses here. Give me the fucking over in this game. I'm going to sit back and enjoy this football game early in the morning with a little Irish coffee.
There you go.
Let's go, Luke.
I might as well just pick this first. I like the Chiefs. I'm getting them at 1.5. I will push it to 2 just because whatever.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. I'll go 2. And I also like the over 50.5. These two offenses are two of the high scoring offenses in the league. So give me Chiefs -2 and over 50.5. Brad?
My next pick, my number 2, Bengals -2. Just talked on this. The Bengals are back to being a good football team. Big weekend for the folks of Louisiana. Mardi Gras 2.0 early this year. They're going to win it.
Jim?
Love it. I love it. I'm going to go up to New York versus Las Vegas. New York Giants versus Las Vegas. I'm only picking this game because I like to see how teams respond after they fire or lose a coach. And it's usually, I wish there was a stat out there, and I'm sure there is somewhere if you can do enough digging, that when teams fire a coach, they win the next game. Las Vegas.
With you there, right? That happens a ton.
Well, what's that?
It happens a ton. I feel like they always
absolutely. So Las Vegas is favored by 2. I'm gonna take Vegas. I like Aiden O'Connell's gonna be now the starting quarterback. They're benching Garoppolo, and who the wouldn't bench Garoppolo after overthrowing Devontae Adams not once,
who was wide open
twice that he could have scored on. He could have had 100+ receiving yards, but that Garoppolo can't hit a barn.
Mm-mm.
I like Las Vegas because New York Giants. I just saw the ticketing line on ESPN here. They're bang the fuck up. They have So many injuries on that team. So give me Vegas -2.
Yep. I'm going to go to Foxborough. I like the Commies +3.5, even though they traded their whole defense. I think I don't trust the Patriots -3.5. I think that's a ucky game. I like the Commies. They keep it close, and I think Sam Howell has a huge game. That's my second pick. Brad?
My third pick is going to be in the Seahawks-Ravens game. I could not get a good feeling where I actually wanted to bet this game, but I saw a great line on Mark Andrews on Caesars for anytime touchdown at +170.
That seems like a solid one.
Little due, and they're gonna. I don't think Zay Flowers is gonna have a big week or anything like that. I'm more concerned about
better.
Yeah, if there's I'm more worried
fantasy
about when you're rushing touchdowns from Zay Flowers or from the offense than I am.
Yeah.
I think Andrews probably tries to sneak one in, and at a plus number for him, I like that.
Yeah, Jim.
My third pick, I'm going to the Colts versus the Panthers. Panthers got their first win last week. They won't get their second win this week. I like the Colts 2.5 here. 2.5 Colts.
I'm going to third pick. I'm going to go with Brad, but I'm going to go with the under 43. I think both defenses kind of keep ground and pound, and we don't see a ton of points. I like the under 43 here.
Yeah, I was looking at that line too. That was my other pick for the Seahawks Ravens if I could get it, but I like the touchdown a little bit more.
Yep, Brad.
My fourth pick, the grown ass man pick of the week, AJ Brown over 82.5 receiving yards. I think that number, if you bet it on Sunday, is gonna be like 89. I think that's gonna go way up. He's had a bunch of 100-yard games in a row, and he looks like a different level. Ever since his tantrum on the sideline, and they were like, okay, maybe we should throw the ball to this dude who's really good. They have. So I think that kind of slightly beat up Dallas secondary is going to get a little bit exposed by AJ Brown.
I thought they were going to get exposed last week by Nakua and Cup, and they didn't. So that was
fair.
Jim?
My fourth pick, I got the Chargers versus the Jets. This ugly ass Monday night game. I have it as the spread 40.5.
You mean the over under?
The over under. Sorry, 40.5. I'm going to the under here. I feel I told you guys earlier, I'm a defensive guy. I like Salah's defense. Give me Sauce Gardner and the Jets under 40.5.
For my fourth pick, I'm going to ride with Brad. -2 Bengals. I love that line. I think the Bengals are the better team. I think it's going to come down. I think the AFC is going to come down to that New Year's Day or New Year's Eve game against the Chiefs. And I think the Bengals are a scary team right now. I wouldn't want to play them right now because they're healthy. They're firing on all cylinders. It's in Cincinnati. Give me the Bengals -2. And Brad, final pick.
My final pick, we're going Commanders-Patriots. I felt so gross about this game, but the one thing I liked was Deron Payne over a quarter sack at plus 145 right now. Big plus number. He only has one sack this year for a guy that had double-digit sacks last year. He hasn't been that much of a game breaker, but I'm wondering if with a little bit more contained pass rush on the outside, forcing guys to step up in the pocket, Mac Jones is not good.
Hell no.
That he grabs a sack early. Maybe they catch this early, but I feel like Payne's due. It does feel he hasn't had a sack since week 2, and he's a game breaker. So I'm intrigued to see if he can kind of pull one out this week, and maybe him and John Allen team up and get one early.
Jim, last pick.
Last pick, I got the Eagles versus the Cowboys. I hit the under last pick. I'm going to go with the over on this pick because I got 46.5. I like Eagles 46.5 here. I expect because the Cowboys had a good offense last week, I expect them to carry that over and achieve this 46.5. I like it. Let's go.
And with my final pick, I'm going to take the Chargers -3. I think they are starting to figure it out on offense. They're giving Eckler the ball in the red zone. Justin Herbert's finger is kind of hurting him a little bit, but I feel like he's playing through it. That defense is starting to figure it out, and I think they're the better team. I think they're going to figure it out, and they're going to win. Brad, your picks.
My 5 picks, and I do have 3 degens for us.
Yeah.
We have Kansas City -2.5. We have Bengals -2. We have Mark Andrews anytime touchdown. We have A.J. Brown over 82.5 receiving yards. And then we have Deron Payne over 1/4 sack.
Jim, yours.
I got the Dolphins versus the Chiefs hitting the over. I have Las Vegas -2 against the Giants. I have Colts versus the Panthers -2.5. The Colts. Chargers Jets game hitting the under. Eagles Cowboys hitting the over.
I've got Commies -3, +3.5. Seattle, Baltimore under 43. Bengals -2. Chargers -3, and Chiefs -2 over 50.5. Now it's time for everybody's favorite segment, Brad's Degen Corner. What do you got for us this week?
So no darts going on this week, sadly. Darts
Damn
don't
it.
come back till December 15th, so we'll see something there for sure. But my two first ones, I love Formula One. It is one of my favorite early morning Sunday activities and Saturday activities. I get up early before Brooke does, go make a little cup of coffee, and I turn on the race. This weekend, they are in Brazil. They're racing at Interlagos, which is like probably the best track they race at, maybe outside of Spa and Silverstone. But Interlagos is awesome. It's a great track. It's going to be a fun race no matter what. My two picks for this, I have two picks in this race. One is George Russell to win at +1,800. George has not had a great year. Lewis Hamilton has been definitely the better driver for that Mercedes team. But that Mercedes car looks fast, and I think Hamilton came in second last week before some shenanigans going on behind me.
Carlton.
I think George came in second last week. Lewis came in second last week. That Mercedes car looks quick. George won here for his first ever race last year, and I think he's like the last three races, he's went like 8th, 4th, and 5th. He's been racing well. Some good vibes for him from this track, and I like to see him pull out a podium. Max Verstappen has absolutely dominated this year. It's not even been interesting to watch, but maybe Max spins it. He's not had the best record at Interlagos. He's won there once or twice, but I think George can pull it out. My next pick for the same Brazilian Grand Prix is the McLaren number 2, Oscar Piastri. The team of Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri has really turned it on since the break for F1. The McLaren car is extremely quick now. They made some great changes to the car on the break. Piastri and Norris have been racking up podiums and high finishes from a not good start of the season, but they really turned the car around. I liked Norris for a podium, but he had -170 odds for a podium. Piastri was +550. It's a big number for a young rookie driver to get up there on the podium, and he already has, I think, 2 or 3 podium finishes this year. Interlagos is a track that's very technical. Piastri is a very technical driver, and there's a possibility they go into turn 1 and 2, and there's a wreck. And if there's a wreck there at the front of the line, I like Piastri to come through the wreck and snatch a podium out of nowhere. So that was my 2 F1 picks for the week. That is a 12 o'clock race on Sunday, so perfect to lead you into football right at the end of the last game. And then my final DGen pick is English Premier League soccer. I am a big Man City fan. I was a Man City fan before they were good. Now they are like the Dallas Cowboys of football, and I don't like it. All they do is spend money, and it makes me unhappy because I like them being a little bit plucky, but they got bought by, I think, a Saudi Arabian national, and now they just have a ton of money. So they buy everybody that's good, and including the pickup of last year where they picked up Erling Haaland. He is an absolute monster. He scored so many goals. They're playing Bournemouth this week. Not a great team. Defensively at all. They're at the bottom of the table. Haaland is +135 to score 2+ goals. He's one of the guys, when he gets one, he's getting more. He just
Damn.
finds the net. He has an unbelievable ability to be in the right place at the right time. He is not the most technical striker by any means, but he is the best finisher in all of soccer right now. So I like to see him pull up too. I don't think that's a bad bet at all against a not good team. Against a Man City team that just beat the crap out of Man U, take down your rival, come in, keep the pedal down, and get 2 out of that one. Phil Fordham also could squeeze in a goal. He had some not bad odds, but I like Halad for +2 goals.
And that is your Brad's Degen Corner. 2 F1 picks and a English Premier League soccer. Soccer talk. But that's going to be it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much, obviously, Brad, for coming on every Thursday.
Pleasure as always.
We love having you on. You can find us everywhere. Gridiron Guys, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Follow Jim at Big Jim on Twitter.
Whatever it is. I don't even know
Yeah.
what it is.
Follow me at Luke Acott on Twitter. But that's it. Fade us, write us. We'll win. Go Commies, Chiefs, Huskers, Terps,
GBR.
I guess, maybe. But that's going to be it. Have
you know
ourselves
what?
a weekend.
Should we shout out my actual Instagram? I feel like it's fine because it's
You have one?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes.
Wait,
yes.
time out. I've actually seen it on freaking Instagram now.
Yeah. Bread469. Shout out.
Yeah.
Dinner for 2. That was my fraternity number. So
yeah.
Bread469. I mostly post pictures of food.
Boom.
Food?
Boom. Yes. Brad is a foodie and I love it.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, thank you guys. Have ourselves a good weekend and let's win some
Let's win some money.
It's personal.